What I'm going to be doing over the next 6 or so slides is talking a very place-based perspective, talking about some of the strategies that we use as councils, as the combined authority, and gradually we'll kind of work towards, but not take over, the stuff that Joe will follow with around Trafford Leisure. So a bit about me. I am a leader of a local council. There are 10 councils in Greater Manchester. For those that don't know, Trafford is probably most well known for Old Trafford. There are 2 of them, and they are both very much part of Trafford. And as you'll have heard before, Urmston's a town there, Altringham's a town there, Sale's a town there. We're kind of quite a polycentric area of different towns that all came together 50 years ago to form a new borough. I am also the Green City Region portfolio holder for Greater Manchester. So the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, who's at another event tonight launching his big strategy, delegates different areas to each of his leaders. So for the last 2 years, I've had the Green City Region portfolio. And again, that has a very wide reach into things that we do on an everyday basis. So if we just have a quick look at greenhouse gas emissions in Greater Manchester, and you'll see there that the vast majority of our emissions are from transport and domestic buildings. And it's absolutely the case that we're looking to do what we can around reducing the emissions that come from either of those areas. But we also recognise that in order to get to net zero by 2038, which is our very ambitious plan, every single sector needs to take part in it. So that includes industry, commercial building, waste, and the wider public sector. Now, in Manchester, we're very proud of what we've done. We're very proud of our past. We're very proud of being at the forefront of the Industrial Revolution, going back 200 plus years ago, the forefront of manufacturing, as has been seen in Trafford Park, more of which later, and also the forefront of what we call the Green Revolution around here, leading the way in tackling the climate crisis. And over the last 5 years, we've invested over £120 million in retrofitting 225 public buildings as part of the Public Building Decarbonisation Scheme. We planted over 570,000 trees in the conurbation, and we've put in over 100 kilometres of cycle infrastructure as part of the wider B network. And we're beginning to see the fruits of that bear through. We know that you need to put the infrastructure in there in order to make that shift from the car and those emissions to bikes. And we're beginning to see that through the investment that we've made. But we also recognise, and you'll see from that graph, that we need to up our pace. We are not going as fast as we should be in order to meet the challenges of the climate crisis and reach that net carbon goal by 2038. One of the ways that we are moving forward is with the Greater Manchester 5-year Environment Plan. Now, this is something that we launched at our Green Summit at the end of last year at the Lowry Centre. And it's something that we have been working on. It is a genuinely partnership-based piece of work. We've worked on the voluntary sector, we've worked on with our local universities, we've worked with business to help deliver the 5-year environment plan. It kicked into action in April, and we're very much working through we've worked through the governance side of it now, and you'll see some of the key features of it, including the natural environment. We've got a local nature recovery strategy on its way to being confirmed later this year. Our air quality remains very important. The circular economy, again, we're doing some amazing stuff that I'm sure I'll be happy to talk about at a different time around the circular economy, and continuing to decarbonise our buildings. And if we just move to Trafford, we have a very unique story in Trafford in terms of the emissions that we have and the challenges that we face and how to address them. Each area of Greater Manchester is different. Each borough has a different story to tell. In Trafford, we are very proud to be the home of Trafford Park. It's in the name. But as part of that, we have a significant emission of carbon coming from industry. For those of you, if you look at it from space, Trafford Park, huge estate, and it has a huge contribution to our greenhouse gas emissions in Trafford. So as a borough, as well as working in partnership with Greater Manchester, we've had to look at initiatives to try and decarbonise or help decarbonise Trafford Park. And that is a project that we've been working on. Now, a couple of years ago, we commissioned a report by Siemens to look at how Trafford Park can be carefully decarbonised in line with our own 2038 targets. But as you'll see from the slide, that is a huge commitment financially. £1.2 billion it would take to do that. But there are opportunities in there as well. One of the things that we can do is look at the heat that can be captured, waste heat that can be captured from Trafford Park and used again, not wasted in that way. There's other things that we can do, for example, solar panels, solar rooftops. That can bring in a huge amount of power to help in terms of addressing the carbon crisis, the emissions that we have from Trafford Park at the moment. There's also the green economy and the benefits of the green economy and what we can do to harness more jobs, new skills, working with our colleges to make sure that those new skills are in pipeline for our next generation of workers. And that's all stuff that we're doing, we're leading the way on. We're working with partners, we're working with Greater Manchester, we're working with the private sector, because that's hugely important that we do that, to try and harness the potential of decarbonising what is one of the oldest industrial parks in Europe, if not the world. We've also got other initiatives. So we're exploring a heat network in the civic quarter, so around where the town hall is, around where we have one of our leisure centres, so Stretford Leisure Centre in this instance, around the two old Traffords, around the Wharfside area that's going to see significant regeneration in the next few years. We're looking at a heat network zone. And what we're looking to do there is make use of the human waste heat that comes from the city, moves towards Davy Hume Wastewater Treatment Centre, and that can be captured and used to heat properties, whether they be public sector buildings such as the town hall, whether they be some of the new housing that we're planning to put in that area. We are pressing on with the way that we move around. So although we've got a long way to go in terms of EV infrastructure, and it is a real challenge for us to get to that space, we are putting in more EV charging infrastructure across Trafford, across the wider Greater Manchester area. We are taking the political pain at times with our new cycle lane. So yes, I've had a lot of kickback from people, understandably frustrated around a lot of the roadworks that we've been doing in recent years to help create a proper walking, wheeling and cycle route around the borough. Growing that network is important. Anyone that knows London, and I'm sure that many of you do, will see the investment they put in, say, 20 years ago, has really borne fruit in terms of the number of people who have made that shift away from the cars and into walking, wheeling and cycling, particularly in the city centre. We work with businesses and with Greater Manchester for Be Net Zero Trafford Park. We are home to significant numbers of SMEs in Trafford Park. There is a thirst there is a desire there to decarbonise. There is a lot of things that are happening there already that other businesses can learn from. So we have brought together a network of businesses to look at what we can do to enhance the decarbonisation progress there. And we've looked at our estate. So that includes our vehicle fleet, electric vehicles. It includes the work that we've been doing within schools around decarbonisation. It involves our street lighting and that shift to LED lighting. And of course, it involves the leisure centres as well, with a lovely CGI image of Altrincham Leisure Centre there, which very, very soon will be open to the public once more, which will be fantastic. So if we move on to my final slide, which is a bit about the decarbonisation activities around Trafford's estate. We have made some bold decisions politically as a council against the context of continuing austerity for local authorities to invest in our leisure centres. We started that with Urmston and we were moving on to Altrincham, which is near completion, and we'll be starting in Partington Leisure Centre soon. That has been transforming stock that was at least 50 years old and very much of its era into much more energy efficient centres, whether that be using heat pumps, whether that be encouraging active travel through cycling hubs, the EV charging points around the estate, removal of gas has been a significant one. These are the actions that we've been taking to help decarbonise the estate. And there's a lot more to do, which is where I'm now going to finish and segue into Joe Cherritt, who's going to tell us how what you heard first from Sadiq and what you're hearing from me comes beautifully together to tell the story of Urmston and Trafford Leisure and the work that's been going on with Deep Green. So thank you very much, everyone.